Okay, so I'm just recording this on my computer here, so I'm just going to start over because I didn't click the record button. So my name is Omar Abasad. It's 4:46 p.m., October 21st, 2020. So I actually posted a bunch of tweets during the night and today, and I demonstrated with an oxygen monitor, blood monitor, um, the saturation, the oxygen saturation of the blood. It's a pulse oximeter. I got it last week for $40 plus tax. I demonstrated the signals in my body, the spots that are tagged, and I related the two together with the blood pressure, monitor. So my batteries are being charged with the blood pressure monitor. So I'm going to do this without taking blood pressure today. So I'm going to use a thermometer and also the temperature around my body, the air temperature. So body temperature, air temperature, blood saturation, oxygen saturation in the blood, microwave detector. Okay. So let's talk about first the oxygen saturation. So there it is right there. So I talked about the updates I get, much like COVID-19 updates. You're updated all the time, every day. I get updates outside my window by people using the loading dock and also people who are talking around the loading dock. It could be out their window, it could be somebody passing through. So I was updated that Rick and Rick's aunt is looking at me live. Um, Nobody cares about me, so they took pity on me, and they're monitoring me, quote unquote, which means that they're looking at me inside of my house, which is something that's going to happen when COVID-19, um, when it transitions using COVID-19 vehicle, the COVID-19 vehicle, to transition us into being monitored 24/7 by the chip that's going to be inserted into us to monitor our vitals, much like these via a chip. So you'll be constantly monitored 24/7. This is where it's headed under COVID-19. Um, I've been going out and, I wear a mask, but, it's been since what, March? We are in October. And, you don't get sick because I do all the right things. I boost my immune system. I wash my hands, of course. That's the thing that I'm really good at. That I do conscientiously. Yes, I'm good at it too. Sing your happy birthday song. Yeah, I got it. I got it from the government tweets. Um, anyway, um, it's I guess what I'm saying is there's no paranoia about getting sick. So I bought this oximeter not because of COVID-19. I found out after the fact that there are doctors who are actually suggesting that you get a monitor like this to get to the doctor on time or get to the hospital on time, um, and not to wait until you're asthmatic to get to the doctor. I mean, that's true for any um, respiratory disease, not only COVID-19. So anyway, so this comes in handy also to monitor my blood pressure fluctuations because they go hand in hand. And I got this version of the meter with a PI number. So the PI number is a measurement of um, the strength of the pulse and the degree of circulation, a measurement, a unit of measurement of how good the circulation is in the finger that the monitor is hooked up to. So the circulation is dependent on the strength of the pulse. And the strength of the pulse is dependent, from what I read, on the strength of the electrical signal traveling through the heart and also the pressure. And preliminary findings from what I see with my numbers is that they're all related and very closely so. So, what I've discovered is there's also a relationship between these signals and my chest. My chest is hurting right now. Oh, is it upside down? That's better. Okay, so there's, as I was saying, there's a correlation between this and this. So my chest is hurting right here, and it's not an internal pain, it's a muscular pain. And it's sore because I'm constantly being pulsed. Okay, so here's the temperature around my body, 74.8. So I'll continue talking. As I show you these measurements. So see the strength of those pulses there? See, it's almost straight lining. So the PI number on this is 9.1. So the 97 is a saturation, which is good. The PI is in the middle, and the 74 is the pulse. So when I get a heart palpitation, the graph at the bottom goes flat, and the pulse beside the 74 is almost not visible. So this is the signals on my chest. I'm in pain. See how low those spikes are? So the PI number is 5.9, 7.1. So measures the strength of the pulse. So in the updates that I was talking about outside the window is about the experiment that's being run. And the experiment that's being run right now is putting me on the glass 24/7, which you're going to be when the COVID transition is finished. And all the vitals are going to be data-based 24/7. Um, and somebody's going to be looking at you 24/7. So this is the experiment being carried out in the building. Directed energy weapons that I just demonstrated. Directed energy weapons are used to train. So a target, and I'm flagged and I'm a target. I'm told all the time that I'm a target. My family told me I'm a target. The people outside the window told me I'm a target. The workers shout, "You're a target, bitch." The worker who boasts outside the window that he signed an affidavit saying that he suspected I was a prostitute. He tells everybody. He also shouts, "You're a target, bitch." So obviously, I'm a target, which means that I am being monitored. These signals is evidence that somebody's logged in. Microwave signals are being used to monitor me inside of my home. So I'm being imaged. If there are not real cameras placed inside of my home because people are coming in without telling me, that's a possibility. Through the wall technology is being used, microwave imaging, millimeter wave imaging, and in very detailed fashion. So everything about me is known, and I'm being passed around from person to person, pimp to pimp, criminals to criminals. Kids are taking part in this as well. Kids are logging in. So to make me common, and this is the trafficking side of the whole thing. Part of the experiment is to cover the trafficking. So the passing around, every informant is taking part in the trafficking ring. So they know who had me before, as in accessing my body and pulsing me with these signals between my legs on my breasts. That's rape. Looking at me while I'm sleeping, recording what they're doing to my body. They're accessing my body and they're operating on my body remotely, sexually, and probably running experiments as well. And this could be done while you're sleeping. So this is all part of the experiment being carried out. And I suspect COVID-19 is just, you know, the mother of all experiments. It's a global experiment. And it's meant to reset the world and the way we think about life and the way we view ourselves. We're dirty, nasty, masked, diseased. We have to stay apart from each other. We can't kiss, we can't hug. And the mainstream media is just pushing this agenda through, right? All the TV stations. And of course, mainstream media is owned by the corporations who are pushing the vaccines. So it's all linked together. And the politicians are buying into it, or some of them are forced into it. So we are being pushed into this pyramidal structure, social structure, that is layered in an enslavement, on an enslavement basis. So it's a template, and each person belongs to a certain level on that pyramid. And the pyramid, like the sculpture or in front of the Toronto Police's headquarters, at college, young and college. Um, they're layers and they're bricks, and the bricks are compartments. So one compartment doesn't necessarily know what the other one is doing, like a beehive. So this is where the chips come in. So if you have a brain chip, then what you need to know is downloaded into your brain, and you wouldn't be allowed to know anything else. You would never be allowed to get the bigger picture, only the eye on top, and we all know about that one eye at the top of the pyramid. Only that eye knows. So the eye is the all-seeing eye, which is of course the surveillance. The surveillance. This is not a conspiracy theory. If you analyze what is going on, it just falls into that template. And this is what is going on in this building. The process of enslavement is you take um, a, a successful person, and you break them down, and then you put them in a compromised situation where they can't fend for themselves financially, emotionally, whatever way, all the other ways, I should say, that a human being exists. Yeah, socially, all your social relationships are broken. And it puts you in a very vulnerable state where you have to ask somebody for everything that you need. You always have to be asking, you always have to be begging. So they put you in a compromised, vulnerable situation where you need to ask somebody who has power over you what you want. So I'll give you a good example of that. We have the lockdown in the red zones under COVID. So the people who wanted to dance, the kids, begged, wrote a letter saying, "I am begging you to do this." This is what I mean. The person who is doing the lockdowns, or who is shutting down our country, um, is in a position of power to do that. And then we beg for what we need. We're going to be begging for food that's coming down the line. Food is going to be rationed. We'll be begging for medical service. I tried to make an appointment to get an x-ray done, and I got an appointment in December because of COVID-19. You have all these restrictions, and you have to space the appointments so the office is not overcrowded, whatever capacity that they're supposed to run at 50% or whatever. So we're going to be begging for medical service as well, and everything, basically everything, everything. So we are being brought down, degraded, dehumanized, destroyed. Our standard of living is being destroyed to put us in a vulnerable situation, and to rebuild using a certain template, and the template is a pyramidal one based on enslavement. Overtly so. This is not covert anymore. It's an overt plan at this point. So, what I'm demonstrating here is, and here's the temperature around me right now, 75.4. What I'm demonstrate here, what I'm demonstrating here now with, these numbers, my body temperature, it's just a microcosm of what is being rolled out. So it's an experiment. 36.4. It's an experiment. So so the PI went up to 10, 11. The saturation is 95. The pulse is 75. Went up to 97 there. And you can see the up and down in the graph. So the power went down. The power went down. And look at the graph. Look at the graph, how even it is. So the saturation is 95, 96. The PI is 11.5, and that's average. And the pulse is 74. So the power went down. So see how nice and even those spikes are? When the power goes up, and I've demonstrated this several times, um, those spikes are not that even. So last night, um, between 5 and 6, this alarm started going off, and the electrical currents on my body was over 2,000. And I tweeted, and I periscoped this. If you want to go back and check my videos, I was sleepy in a lot of them, so dozing off. So forgive the um, the presentation. So yeah, so there seem to be a lot of alarms in the morning. So between 6 and 7, it alarmed about 6 times. Between 8 and 9, it alarmed quite a few times, maybe about 8 or 9 times, probably 10. I didn't quite count. And then somebody came in through the loading dock and said, "This time it's going to be a real heart attack." Was talking to me, obviously. They were just talking amongst themselves. Um, and so heart attacks, the topic of giving somebody a heart attack or somebody having a heart attack is a very popular topic outside my window. And also the term maximum power on this. We are turning it up to maximum power. And another comment I heard was, "Keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut." So obviously I'm not doing that, um, because this is murder. And what is going on with me has been happening to a lot of other people for, I would say, at least 50 years now. At least 50. So um, there was a topic that I wanted to talk about, and that is not predictive programming, MK Ultra style programming. So let's see where I should start here, because this is it's a topic that will be hard to explain and to tie the points into what's going on, because a lot of people are probably going to not believe it. So this is why I'm trying to figure out how to present it. Um, there is if you read MK Ultra um, material, you will discover that there is a programming that is done while people are sleeping in certain sleep states, alpha, delta, beta, different states, brain frequencies. Um, Delta, alpha, beta, theta. So if, for instance, the programming is done in a delta state, I should say, um, you have to be in a certain sleep mode to do that. So I have discovered in a few days that I have this, that, and together with all these other equipment that I have here, that there are times when this number drops. So I had a couple instances um, while I was dozing off where the pulse, the heart rate dropped to 37, and the pressure dropped, and I immediately started feeling drowsy or drowsier. And at the same time, I there were like um, it's not dreams or nightmares. They were just images that were coming forward in my mind, in my dream state. And some of these images are not things that I would normally think about. So they'd be out of the ordinary images. Um, things like strange, convoluted, um, uh, weird scenes that I would normally not conjure up in my mind. Um, and the funny part of this is the same thing, the same images will come up again and again. And these are not nightmares, these are just images. So it's a very interesting because when I tie that back into the MK Ultra programming, it is it made sense because you'd have to be in a certain level of consciousness. So if you drop your heart rate and your blood pressure drops, then you're it's almost as if you're in a semi-conscious state. And then you pulse these images in a semi-conscious state, and you're programmed. Is it possible that these are they seem to be dreams, but really they're programming? So when you see it outside, or you see something related to the images outside, you come back to the programming that was done while you're sleeping in a almost sub semi-conscious state. For instance, if your genitals are pulsed in that semi-conscious state, you're programmed in a semi-conscious state, or you're being raped in that semi-conscious state, or you're being hit on the head and you see flashes in your eyes, and you're being tortured in that semi-conscious state. And some of it you will not remember right away until something jogs your memory, something triggers you. And if you're in the program, then there'll be perpetrators in your environment that will follow this programming, will know exactly what was done to you the night before, or 10 nights before, or a year ago, because it's all very, very, very well documented. and then a trigger will be placed at the right time in the right place to trigger you back into that dream state or that semi-conscious state that you were in, to pull up that programming, and you act on it. And you think about that. So Russell Williams was documenting. He was going back to little girls' rooms and using his wife as a front and presenting themselves as a couple, and accessing the couples that had kids, because children would, and adults will trust a couple, the front of a couple, right? It's a front. So then he gets access to the children, and the children will trust him because, after all, he's this military guy at the top. So then he gets access to the house, and he goes back 11, 12 times that we know of. Of course, we don't know. What we know about Russell Williams is just the tip of the iceberg. So he went back and he took underwear, and he took clothing, shoes, brushes. Uh, why? And documented them meticulously, documented them. This is exactly why he would do it. Because 10 years down the line, when that child is programmed in an unconscious or subconscious or semi-conscious state, something will happen, planned, of course. You know, it could be one day, it could be 1 year, it could be 1 week, that will trigger that person back to the programming that happened that night. Layered, it's nested, it's layered. Now, having said that, you would think that, oh my God, it's a Manchurian candidate, because I heard the stupid lies outside, that I'm walking around with knives. Never. I never walk around anywhere with a knife in my hand, and I do not carry weapons. There is absolutely no need for me to carry a weapon. I do not need a weapon. And I will never carry a weapon because I do not need a weapon. So this is the Manchurian candidate programming that they're trying to instill. Obviously not working, because people are thinking, oh my God, she switched. I heard that several times outside. She switched, because they're triggering you. When I verbalize, and I might swear inside of my home, they get very concerned because I'm switched, quote unquote. Well, if somebody's pulsing your genitals with a laser, you might just get angry. Getting angry is not switching personalities. They're saying that you're switched because they know the programming that's happening, that went on before, as you sleep. And this is what's going on with the kids as well. This is exactly what's going on with the kids. So, coming back to Manchurian candidates, in order for that programming to work, you have to be disassociated. You have to be completely traumatized. You have to be, um, you know, in a state of pain, emotional pain, physical pain, in distress all the time, in order for that programming to take place. Now, when the program starts initially, yes, you get traumatized. Once you start realizing what is being done, and it is a program, and you start realizing that the people who are actually acting on you are perpetrators themselves and also targets themselves, and they're being affected with this technology themselves, then there is no trauma. So once you realize that, there's no trauma and you don't take it personally. Even if your family curses you out and disowns you and do all kinds of strange things to you or hurt you and betray you, you stop taking it personally because you know that they are being acted upon. So there is no um, deep trauma anymore because you know it's a program. It's like a play being played out on a stage. So there's no trauma associated with it. The other point is I meditate. and I've been meditating for a long time. If not going down on my knees or sitting cross-legged, with my hand clasped, I've always been able to study and be in the zone since I was a child, since I started school when I was 5 years old. It just happens. It's just it's my reality. I enjoy it. I like studying because it is a form of meditation. You're forced in order to study something and to retain it permanently. You're forced to put your entire mind in what you're doing, and everything else disappears. And that's meditation. And when you do that, and when you're in the zone, you get high marks and you pass your exams. I used to pass exams without even studying. I would probably sit and study, maybe for 2 days before my exam, and I would be getting 90s. Not that I'm boasting, I'm saying that for me, that was my normal, so I'm not boasting. But it came from my ability to just draw my attention into one spot and let everything else go. And I still do, no matter what's going on around me. I could focus and study in the middle of a hurricane. So, and I'll give you another example of that. While I was doing my exam for the last course I took at the University of Waterloo, and I did get my certificate, um, I was getting chest pains because they had turned up the power on my chest. And I didn't have these gadgets, but I was getting chest pains while I was doing the exam, while I was writing the exam. And not only that, I was in somebody else's office space, another office at the EI office, because my computer was crashing. And the women there were harassing me, just like I get harassed outside the window here, while I was getting heart palpitations and I was doing my exam. I still passed it, not with extremely high marks, but high enough in order to get my certificate. So you need to practice, number one. But number two, you need to believe how powerful it is to bring your presence and bring your attention and bring your entire being into one spot and let everything else go and practice doing that. Because once you do that, all the programming falls apart. Because once you do that, it's like unraveling, a tied up knot, a puzzle. The meditation, just by meditating, and you don't even have to worry about the problem itself, just by focusing on something that you really enjoy, dearly love, not loved, that affects you down to your very, very, very soul, the answers to the questions and the puzzles that you have will automatically happen. So every program that's being programmed into you while you're asleep is going to unravel. It's going to be undone, completely and utterly undone. And the more you meditate, the more that affects. And right now we are being mind controlled. COVID 19, COVID 19, COVID 19, COVID 19 coming out of every crevice of my body. Every gray cells that I have is being labeled and stamped with COVID 19. I turn off my computer. Don't have a TV. I don't intend to get one. As soon as I turn on any form of news, or any access any website, news website, it's like COVID 19 continuously. So with the computer, you have control. You just don't access it. Turn it off, right? Don't go to the website. It's that easy. So it's important that so the PI dropped to 2.4 because I'm getting hit around my ear. See that? And 3.2, 97, 76. But see the spikes? Look at the spikes go very, very low when the power is turned up. So when this wasn't alarming, it was completely normal. And here the power is turned up. Oops. See how low those spikes are? So PI is 3.3. They are just straight lined. Missed heartbeat. Straight line means I missed quite a few heartbeats, which pretty much means that the heart stopped. So the last time I did this on this video, the alarm was silent. Now the power is turned up. I do not have magnets on me. Straight lining there. See, there's almost no spikes. And there the spikes are coming back. So the PI is 3.2. There's a straight line there. So when the power is turned up on my chest, there's a lot of skip beats. Because as you can tell, the strength of the pulse is very, very low, which is reflected by the low PI number. Going back down again. Right, so just gonna take that off. So I posted some links on my Twitter account, ROSHINI911. Do your own research about the mRNA vaccines. Apparently, it works differently in each ethnic group. Very interesting. Um, and it's being tested already. I think it's stage 3. So I'm perfectly innocent, perfectly healthy people, young people, are being experimented with. For a genetically coded vaccine, 6 months doesn't cut it. You have to see what happens in the next generation. 50 years, more like 50 years, 25, between 25 and 50 years, to see what the damage is or the changes are, good or bad. This emergency passage is is very questionable, especially for a virus that there are all kinds of therapeutics for. So The government took our money, right? Tax money. And we're not getting services. The schools are shut down, the universities are shut down, the healthcare system is shut down, the hospitals are shutting down because they've got these breakouts. So it's very difficult to access science-based medical services provided by the government. So what option do you have? I would suggest go see a naturopath for therapeutics, natural therapeutics, to boost your immune system and to decrease the inflammation in your body. Um, I have uh, I have taken on the huge responsibility of managing my own health. Yes, the doctors are quote unquote professionals, but unfortunately, I have been lied to by professionals because they are following an agenda. They are not there to make me feel better. They are there to follow an agenda. So I've taken it upon myself to control and manage my health. And by that, I mean keep myself healthy because our currency is going to be our bodies. And this is where COVID-19 changes are headed. Our bodies are going to be our currency. If you're unhealthy, you don't get to travel, you don't get to attend anything physically, you got to do it virtually. If you're unhealthy, you're probably going to get pulled out and put in an isolation cage, quarantined. So we need to keep ourselves healthy. So here is something, another little tool, and I'll share this with you because I'm going to open a website on my own. Excuse me. I'm going to open my own website on my experience with natural healing. And I'm going to share with you my experience with it, what I'm trying, what effects I'm getting. Um, so this is a pH test strip to monitor your acid level or alkaline level of your body. So if you just spit on it, or well, I don't want to put it on my mouth. Um, okay, so I just put some spit on there, and I'm going to share with you the results. You probably can't see it there, but it's turning green, light green. Can you see that? Okay, so here is the scale. So light green is about that one there. All right, so that one is 7. Yeah, 7 there. So if you can see that number, God, no. Oh, it could be the other one too, this one. So 6, 7. You can see that scale there, 6, 7. This one, this one, this one. 6, 7. Yeah, 6, 7. So let's do that again. It's more like this one. So 7. So right in the middle of the scale. So the way the alkaline acidity scale works is the lower the number, the higher the acidity. So out here is 1, 2. At the bottom is 13, 14. So very acid, very alkaline. The middle is neutral. And this is where your body should be. When your body is neutral, um, diseases cannot exist. I mean, the bacteria and the viruses will enter your body, but they will not get the environment to proliferate. So simple seems simple, a simple thing, right? But not so simple. Simple but important. And these are the things that naturopaths would tell you if you access the websites. There are some good ones out there. These are the things that will help you keep yourself safe, keep yourself healthy, even if you're exposed to viruses and the bacteria out there. Your body will not provide them with the environment to replicate, and you wouldn't get that storm, that inflammatory storm that takes over your body and kills you. Basically, that's what COVID-19 is. Even if it is a genetic, let's go with the conspiracy theory that it was man-made and it's a bioweapon, possibly a bioweapon. Let's, for instance, entertain that thought as a fact. If that was true, um, the nature of viruses will still mean that they would need certain environments to live in if it's a virus. It could be a programmed virus, but okay, so that will need some other manipulation in our thinking and in our bodies, natural ones to prevent those from replicating. Um, but you get my idea. If it's a virus that came from animals, then if you do not provide it with the conditions to replicate, then it will not replicate. If it's a bioweapon, then more research is needed. And there are ways to defeat that as well, too. Meditation being number one. The frequencies around your body is very, very important, like I just described. And I'm going on, and I'm going to shut up before the hour is over. Um, the frequencies around your body are very important. Take off your Wi-Fi, switch off your cell phone, your TV, your computers, or put them away from you as you sleep. These things are important. They are subtle and sometimes not so subtle energies around your body that affects your body, affects the way the cells work. Now I could talk about this in a knowing fashion, in a knowing way, because I am a target. Oh my God, I'm a target. And thousands of people are accessing me and looking at me as I sleep. Well, the sorry fact is that everybody is going to be accessed after COVID-19 changes come through. And it's coming very, very, very quickly, as we all know. Nobody is going to have any privacy. We're all going to be hooked up to the cloud. And our data is going to be constantly monitored and collected and analyzed by another computer or another human being, and you're going to be passed around from computer to computer and human being to human being so that they can analyze it and give you feedback. Am I a target? Yes, I'm a target. Am I worse than anybody else? Does that make me a lesser human being? Because all these things were done and all these experiments were being carried out. Well, from my point of view, at this point in time, being a target works for me because I'm in a better position than the norm than people who are considered who consider themselves non-targets. I'm in a better position than they are to handle the crisis of COVID-19, and I know more about what's going on in order to manage it in such a way to survive it. Because a target is experimented with, and a target is used for practice. So the practice that was done on me taught me what was going on, realized what's going on, and put me in an enviable position to survive what's going to come down with COVID 19. Am I a target? Yes. Am I degraded and dehumanized? Well, dehumanized, definitely the attempts are there. But really, at the end of the day, none of that is being internalized because none of it is true. And it puts me in a good position. It makes me a survivor. Okay, so 56 minutes, 38 seconds. So we'll talk to you another time. I'm going to close it off there.